What's going on, ladies and gents? This is Bento, and today's video is a first impression of Monster Hunter World using the Steam controller. Monster Hunter World is probably one of the top games I played over the past couple of months because I am a fan of the Monster Hunter franchises. I played it a lot since the PlayStation 2 era, and I even played it on the Switch too. So now that it's on PC, I'm going to have a hell of a time playing it again, and seeing whether or not the Steam controller or even the other controllers work well with it. So, in terms of a first impression, I quite like it so far. There's definitely some bad things that I will mention, but first, let's mention the good. Now, comparatively to how I played it on the PS4, the controls are pretty much similar. I've kept most of the control scheme to be emulated to the PS4 controls, or even the Xbox controls if you've ever played it on the Xbox. What I really like is that the game supports both the keyboard and gamepad functionality at the same time, which means for the left thumbstick you can keep it on a gamepad style, while still using the right trackpad as a mouse in terms of moving the camera or in terms of aiming. Now, if you want to keep the right trackpad to just a joystick movement style, it feels really good too. In terms of moving the camera, it feels really nice. It outputs almost identically. It feels a little slow at first, but otherwise it pretty much does its job. Also, the grip buttons have been pretty helpful for this game because I was able to implement the left grip button to be the item switching menu, while the right grip button to be used for my roll or dodging. That way, I don't have to worry about messing with my right thumb on the normal buttons too much, and then I can just focus on using the right grip button to dodge. For the face buttons, I've pretty much just kept them similar to how they were on console. The Y and B button were still my primary means of attacking, so for doing, for the greatsword at least, for doing the overhead attacks or doing the side attacks with the B button. And I kept those pretty much similar because there's also combos you need to do by pressing them both together. The A button I've also kept pretty much the same. It's the dodge roll as well as the selection button, and the X button is used for selecting your items, or using items actually. And I've also kept, and the other reason I've kept them the same is because I need to use the item menu functionality, and so the X button and the B button help me cycle through those. Not really much else to say on the face buttons because that control scheme is kind of very atypical of the Monster Hunter franchise, so I didn't really want to tinker around with it too much. Maybe eventually I'll find, or if I will find, a better control scheme for attacking, but as far as I'm concerned, this is probably my go-to for now. For the bumpers and triggers, I've also kept them similar to the control scheme on console as well. The right trigger, again, is my sprint button, and so I needed to sheath my weapon as well as run away from whatever imminent danger is coming at me. The right bumper is my shield guard, at least for greatsword. The left bumper is also similar to the left grip, as I've said, which is used for my item switching, or to activate the item switching. And the left trigger is also used for the slinger, which is really helpful because it also couples well with motion controls. Now, I really want to explain motion controls, but I'm going to wait till after I explain some of the negatives because it is arguably my favorite part about playing this game. So one interesting thing about Monster Hunter World on the PC is that the radial menu that is normally a, radial menu on the consoles is actually a menu type to be accessed through the F1 to F4 keys and then selecting the items using the number keys. It's an interesting system, and I think it works well on keyboard. It feels a little finicky to try on the Steam controller, mainly because I was really hoping that I could just quickly access the items using a numerical pad or using the numpad via the touch menu. But in this case, I would need to program the F1 to F4 keys by pressing them first, and then afterwards using the number pads to select them. I think I can do this through the touch menu with a little more tinkering, but I need to kind of figure this out a little bit more. The other thing I really wanted to do though was use the traditional radial menu that's found on consoles. However, there is a bit of an issue regarding the mouse joystick output, in the sense that when selecting the items on the normal radial menu, it doesn't actually do it precisely, and it feels a little weird because it's kind of more intuitive to do it using the right trackpad, but because it doesn't really work too well or because it's not too precise, selecting items is kind of an issue. So the only way around this would be to implement the mouse style of input. However, the game actually doesn't let you use the radial menu or the normal console radial menu using your mouse. And so in order to actually do it using the normal radial menu, you have to use the keyboard or the WASDs, but they don't actually work that well. And honestly, it's better preferred if you actually have a right joystick. So maybe at a later time, I'm hoping Capcom could implement a mouse input in order to access the traditional radial menu. But for now, you're going to have to just use the new keyboard radial menu and kind of customize it around the Steam controller using the touch menu. So now for my favorite part, the motion control or gyro usage for the use of ranged weapons in this game. When I first booted up Monster Hunter World, I really wanted to see how good the aim on some of the ranged weapons was using the regular mouse. And it feels really good. Hitting targets or hitting weak spots feel really nice and accurate. I can honestly just, well, turn off the aim assist mode, which you kind of should be doing if you're going to be using mouse. It was mainly needed on console just because console aim isn't that strong, but thanks to the mouse aim, it feels way more accurate and it feels way more fluid to actually aim and shoot. Now, using the motion controls, and coupled with the fact that I kind of like using Monster Hunter controls with a normal controller, it feels kind of amazing actually. Aiming feels really intuitive, aiming feels really fluid and fun, kind of like when I played Splatoon, honestly, online. Especially with my short time with the bow, it's been really fun. I haven't really taken it out too much with the heavy bow gun, the light bow gun for that matter, but I can only imagine that it's going to be similar in terms of feel. But as far as I'm concerned, if I were going to switch to using ranged weapons instead, I would wholeheartedly use the gyro controls because I really like how it feels and I really like how good the aim is. So in conclusion, I really like the Steam controller and I really like how the button layout pretty much mimics that of the console style. The only issue, like I've said, is the radial menu, which I wish was a little better or could be better implemented. Like I said, I will implement the new PC radial menu through the use of the touch menu functionality, and it'll probably give me a better playstyle at the time, and I'll be able to use my items a lot quicker. But in terms of other feels, I just really like how it plays overall. And as I've said, the motion controls / gyro just feels really good for aiming both your slinger and whatever ranged weapon you equip. I think if you really want to, or if you think you're going to commit to this game using the Steam controller, I definitely think it's going to be really fun and it'll work out for you. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next time.